Hi. I'm sitting close so that you can hear me. Let's see. I made part 1, rheumatoid arthritis, and it disappeared. But it is on the internet. So if you write, living with rheumatoid arthritis, 43 years, you can find it. And if you can find it anyway, you are a genius, because I can't. This is part 2, and it's called Rheumatoid Arthritis is Deadly. Do I have to point that out? Yes. The ignorance around RA is tremendously big. It's so big, and I've lived with these misunderstandings all my life. But I knew from the beginning that I was going to fight not just against pain, but against death. I got sick in Austria, and they are nice there, yeah. And when I came to the emergency, there was a doctor who gave me the diagnosis, immediately looking at me, because, well, what else could it be? I couldn't move anything. Everything was swollen. Everything was burning. The joints were burning. And she said, Gott sei Dank, das Herz ist noch nicht geschädigt. It means, praise the Lord, the heart isn't damaged yet. And I thought, it's not damaged yet, but it might get damaged. I might die. I might die any day. And I am 24, and I didn't know this. How come I didn't know this? Well, they wanted to give me cortisone. I did not want cortisone. Well, I went back to Sweden and I got chloroquine. I don't want cortisone in pills because it breaks down the skeleton. And if I'm out without joints and skeleton, I don't think there's much left of me, is there? So I survived on that, and I took 19 joint operations. I have taken very many cortisone injections. I have taken the most dangerous medicines, chloroquine, methotrexate, and Briel. And I made a visit in England, and I met the best rheumatologist in England, that is in Europe, 20 years ago. Yeah, I have big respect for England's healthcare. It was very, very good. Once upon a time, it was. The doctor said, okay, you have got the worst form of rheumatoid arthritis, but you are unusually well kept. And I was so happy after all these years that he could look through all these things I've done, the operations and the injections, that he could look through it and see that I had the tiger version. I call it that. I just gave it a name. Since there seem to be different forms of RA, some are slow and mild and go into remission now and then, and something in the middle, I guess. And then we have the tiger version. It's very fast, it's very quick, there is no remission, and you must just bombard the body with poison of different kinds. And if you want to have any functions left, you must perhaps do a lot of operations, as I have done. Well, in the hands, they give injections nowadays. Or they have done that for a long time. But in the 80s, operations. And because of that, I mean, I am well kept. This looks like a hand, doesn't it? The wrist is operated, so a bone is missing. But that was the only way to clean up here so that the ligaments would not be cut off, because otherwise they will be cut off. If this tunnel is like the Rocky Mountains, then you will be paralyzed. This doctor, he was a bad doctor, an asshole. So when I said, we must do this operation before I get paralyzed, I have pain, we are in a hurry, it's a symmetrical disease. He said, don't you eat Prozac? No, I don't. Do that, don't sit here and complain. And the next week, I was paralyzed. And then I've done so many operations in order to stitch the fingers back, and finally I got artificial knuckles. So that's the story. But me, I have been fighting very hard. And since I, from the beginning, got the information that your heart might stop, just any day. I mean, I was carried to this emergency. I mean, I was stiff. I mean, full of liquid, and yeah, I was that sick. And I will give you some example of how you can react when you get the diagnosis RA. I know 2 women that took it seriously. They understood that they were fighting against death, and they took medicines. One of them, the modern medicines. I don't know what happened to her. She was small. I don't know, very thin. Her pain was incredible. It was, she could hardly stand it one more day. And then she died, because the heart is a muscle. RA attacks the joints, ligaments, tissues, and a lot of stuff, and muscles. And the heart is a muscle. So it got inflamed, so it stopped and she died. And another woman that I have never seen, she was also about 50. It's a bit early to die. And she had taken so many operations that she was like Robocop. But she was hit by cancer. And then the artificial joints, they start leaving, trying to get out of the body. That sounds like a recipe for a horror movie. I have no idea, because I just heard it. But she died when she was 50. And then there are other way of reacting. RA. Yeah, so I've got the flu, or yeah, a bit worse perhaps, but I'm elderly. Yeah, and when you get elderly, you might get some rheumatism. So what? I'm going to fight against the pain. The pain, not death. I mean, some people don't know that what they are up to. I mean, a tiger is not a cat, a pussycat. It's different, they are different things. Don't confuse them. And my brother, he had a neighbor with rheumatoid arthritis. She didn't take medicines. I think her hands looked shit. But she was very alert to get tired from chemotherapy. She wasn't tired, she was alert. And she lived as if she was not sick, which was the example my brother set to me. You should live as if you did not have RA. How on earth do you do that? Going in for 19 operations and just as many flare-ups. When you have fever, when you cannot move, you cannot go to the toilet almost. How can you live as normal? Well, I was a loser. I was really bad, just complaining for nothing. But she was a role model. Look at her. And then the next summer, when I met my brother in the summer house, I said, what about your neighbor who has rheumatoid arthritis and is so alert? Is he still that alert? He blushed and he said, she's dead. Yeah. Was I surprised? No, I was not. And I had a neighbor that often passed the patio. And we talked a little bit. One day came with a cane. And I then looked at the hands, and they looked like it's twisted and turning in all directions. And they looked so bad. You know, the worst scenario. They couldn't look worse. and of course he was limping. There was a big bone sticking out from his elbow. Just sticking out. And I said to him, "So you have got rheumatoid arthritis?" "Yes," he said. "What medication are you on then?" I really wondered, you know. And he said, "I have never in my life taken an aspirin, and I'm not going to do it now." Well, he was 70 plus, and brought up to be a real man. A real man doesn't cry. A real man resists pain. You don't take pills if you have pain. You just stand against it. Be a man. Oh, God. I was shocked, and when I get shocked, I cannot say anything. I just couldn't say anything. He had made a choice. Yeah, so it was his choice. And then, after that day, I never saw him again. I don't think that he could move, to another flat or something in that condition. But the most likely thing is that he's dead. You cannot meet up with the tiger version and say, "I don't want any medicine." It's like you got cancer and you say, "Well, I am not going to take any chemotherapy or other treatments because I'm against that." Yeah, okay. It's suicide, isn't it? Well, I don't know. Then, why don't people know? And the journalists, they should dig up the truth, shouldn't they? And I saw an English paper on the net, and there was a picture of a woman sitting in her rose garden in England, and I could see her on a long distance. She could sit. Yeah. I didn't know anything more. What functions did she have left? What could she do? Could she walk? And how much pain? What had she gone through? I'm sorry, Sjögren's syndrome, you dry out. This is how it gets. And she had ordered an appointment with Dignitas in Switzerland. She was going to take the lethal drink and die. Because she had got enough of the suffering, she thought, it's enough. Enough is enough, and I can't take any more. And this article was so full of judgment. They judged her. Sorry, my English is not that bad, the best. They judged her. And they said, and RA is not even deadly. It's really suicide. Well, it's not. RA is deadly. And my time is out. So I stop here, and I wish you a good survival.